right, so I'm listening to the news on my drive home, and of course everybody is talking about the shooting in Texas. And the first thing I want to address is your boy Ted Cruz. Like, this guy is a true piece of shit. Like, there's no getting around it. Like, I'm doing my best with this channel, just as a sidebar, trying like not to curse and be too vulgar or whatever. But fuck that guy. He's a fucking dick, straight up. He used the line that was used a decade ago when the babies at Sandy Hook got killed. The only thing that can defeat a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. I'm paraphrasing, but that was, that's pretty much what he said. And the problem is the facts do not support that. The facts do not even support that 19 good guys with 19 guns can defeat one bad guy. Like, this is, like, we lived through that. We saw that. We know and understand at this point that is exactly the case. Like, I am not, again, being hyperbolic. I'm not exaggerating in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You had 19 armed officers, I'm sure with body armor, standing outside. Now, they were awaiting their command. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not a boss in the world that is going to stop me from saving babies, my dude. That's not gonna happen. So I can't even really take the onus off of the cops saying that they was waiting for an order or whatever. They didn't want to violate the order, because the reality is that the worst that would happen, well, there's two worst case scenarios. One is definitely worse than the other. One could be you get killed, right? But you might get a headshot off with this motherfucker in the situation, or if not, then you might get fired. And if you get fired after running into a classroom to save babies from a maniac with a AR-15, I'm certain I bet my blackness on it that if you're that officer, you're never gonna have a want or need ever again. You're gonna be like 500 years old. That story is gonna carry you for that whole duration, like, seriously speaking. So there's that. I cannot actually, the sad part was, because I was gonna say I can't believe that these people are actually still spouting that bullshit, but sadly I totally can, and it's par for the course, really. Like, this guy and people who think like him, these loons, I don't know what a politically correct name for these fucking cocksnots is. So leave that down in the comment section for me, so I can start using that. But these people who want to cite or sidestep rather the focus that everybody is on is fucked up, man. It is what it is. These people cherish their right and their acquired power more than they have a regard for the actual lives of the people, the actual lives of our children, or in my case, grandbabies, you know what I mean, or nieces and nephews. I mean, it's crazy But I can believe it. Why? Because these people will die with their lie. Like, that's the one thing you got to give to the Republican Party. You know, they are a dedicated group of people. Like, they are committed, and it takes a lot to make them waver from that commitment. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just lost 19 babies, and they are steadfast holding on to their bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, in a different realm, that's commendable. That's admirable, even. Like, to have that much dedication to your you are just like laser focused. It's fucking fascinating. But in the meantime, in between time, we got babies dying. We got innocent grandmothers and grandfathers dying, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, our brothers and our sisters, like, it's indiscriminate. It's not like it's a black thing or a white thing or like any kind of age thing. Like, it's just like everybody is getting killed, and we have to do something. Now, what I will say is, one of the things that I hate to say the Republicans are getting right, because that implies that the Democrats are getting it wrong, and that's not actually the case. But one thing that they are acknowledging and scapegoating, really, is mental illness, right? And the truth is that is absolutely a factor in every single one of these mass shootings. Mental illness is a factor. Evil is mental illness, right? For you to act on those evil feelings means that mentally you are not there with the rest of us. I don't, again, know a politically correct way to say that, so let me know in the comment section. But the point and sentiment remain exactly the same. Like, how do you know what I mean? Like, mental health is definitely at the forefront even of this situation. But there's a lot of, like, it's a tie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate to say it like that and sound like I'm diminishing the subject, but the reality is that mental health is a factor. Our lackadaisical, non-universal gun laws are also an absolute factor. One thing that I don't hear anybody speaking about is one thing that would have to be changed if certain gun laws are enacted is the HIPAA law, right? Because as a doctor, I would not be able to disclose to the government or anyone else, at least not of my own free will, that, you know, somebody is harmful or could be harmful to themselves or others. So that has to be addressed. Restricting guns is a bad idea. Like, I'm just gonna say it and jump out the window. Fuck it. That's a bad idea, and it will never work. The reason that it will never work is, well, there's a few reasons. The truth is that there is no mechanism in place, or that could be put in place, that is going to go into people's homes and take their AR-15s from them, or AK-47s, or any other assault style rifle. It's not gonna happen. Like, you're not gonna get that mechanism started without a civil war. Right, let's be honest, and these people are armed, not as heavily armed as the military, but the military can't go against the people So, that's opening a whole nother can of worms. You have to think, right? So that off the bat is out the window. It does not work. It's not practical in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Idealistically, yes. What is it? I think New Zealand had a mass shooting, outlawed guns, and like they have not had any, at least not, nobody has them like the United States. And in all of the plethora of categories to be number one in, this is one of them that we should not be fighting to be at the top of. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. So yeah, the banning of guns and all of that shit is not gonna work. You could try to ban AR-15s, but again, it's the same premise and the same principle as the reason that a total ban would never work, because you have to create a mechanism that is going to retrieve all of the ARs that are out there. I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's a thing called ghost guns, where basically you can buy all of the parts, all of the bits and pieces for your gun separately and put it together yourself. And the gun is therefore untraceable. So there's no telling really how many of those are floating around anyway. So that's one part of the problem. Second part of the problem, if you were to outlaw the AR-15, you have people who already have them, or like I know people who have a few of them, few AR-15s, more than they'd be able to use. As long as they got magazines, they really only need the one, right? Now you're opening up the possibility for a black market, right? Not to mention that even if this was to be considered, the run on these types of guns, leading up to the actual ban, would be ridiculous, and there would be that many more in the street to try to confiscate. So we have to be realistic. At this point, the bet is already made. The guns are out there. There's nothing that we can do about it. But we can create laws that a responsible gun owner such as myself would not have a problem with, right? Like, for example, if one of my kids were to steal one of my guns and go out and commit a murder, right? I should be responsible for that. I should go to jail. Why? Because there's no way that as a responsible gun owner, anybody should be able to gain access to my guns without my expressed permission. Period. If somebody can walk into your house and take a gun and murder someone, then you are responsible. So unless the gun is stolen, well, obviously, you'd be able to say that it was stolen. But if, unless somebody broke into your house and took it, if somebody within your household was able to get to it, then that's on you, man. I would not have any problem with that type of law. None whatsoever. Zero. I don't know that most gun owners, or even most gun owners that I know, would be willing to deal with that, but I absolutely would. And most of the people who would not want to deal with that are just comfortable with this antiquated way that we have done things. And it is absolutely antiquated because there's no way that the robbers and thieves who pillaged this country and made up these rules had any fucking idea that And by now we would have these types of guns. Like, think about the guns that they was talking about. Think of how much it took to actually shoot somebody with one of those guns versus the amount of rounds that we can get off with an AR. Even more if you have an AR with a little bit of know-how. Or if you have one of those bump stocks that they outlawed. Like this. Anyway, my point is, the ban would not work. More stringent gun laws. The law that I was saying about the owner of the gun being responsible, absolutely. The fact that an 18-year-old can get a AR but can't get a 9mm is fucking amazing to me. Like, that is astonishing. Like, talk about a fucking loophole. Like, holy fucking fuck. Talk about a fucking loophole. That's spectacular. It's fucking spectacular. These guns, the ammo that comes out of these guns obliterates flesh. It obliterates it. This is why the parents at that school had to give DNA samples, because for a little 10-year-old's body, the damage is... My bad. I'm sorry. So the point is, I fucking totally just spaced it, like that image. Right. So another law should be the age to purchase any firearm should be 21. Like, that should just be like a universal thing. Like, you can't drink, but you can buy AR-15. You can vote, you could go to war, and you could buy a weapon of war. Right? Like, let's be honest. Like, that's the purpose of this gun. Like, let's not front. And I own one. I'm not hunting with that. What I'm hunting with that? An elephant? Like, what the fuck am I hunting with that? Come on. We gotta call it what it is. Like, I'll be perfectly honest. I got an AR because I know too many motherfuckers, perfect example, this asshole in Texas, that have purchased them. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna be outgunned when I have the opportunity to even up those odds a little bit. So that's why I got one. You know what I mean? And my man's actually said, well, that's the reason that you don't mind having that kind of law when it comes to the fucking AR about fucking if somebody take your shit and go shoot shit up. That's where you fucked up. And I'm sure if you rewind this, I didn't even do this consciously, but I'm sure if you rewind this, the verbiage is exact. I never said ARs. I said gun. Period. I have multiple guns. Only one AR. Well, technically 2 ARs. But anyway, I said gun. They go out and they murder a store clerk. Yeah, that's on me. With one of my 9s. Shut him the fuck down. So if you were in mid keystroke in the comment section about to say that and be like, got him, No, you don't, motherfucker. Period. There should be no access to your shit that you don't give. Period. That law alone, in my humble opinion, would definitely decrease the amount of shootings that occur with guns that are not owned by the shooter. You're not gonna catch me on the technicality, right? That number, whatever that number is, would be greatly reduced. Why? Because the people, the few of us gun owners who are not necessarily that responsible would then become more responsible. Right? I know plenty of people that when they're driving, they'll speed anywhere they go. And I'm not talking like 5 miles over the speed limit. I'm talking like going fast. But they won't do that shit when the cop around. Same concept. This kind of shit would be prevented. Now, this is not saying that that applies to the last 2 shootings, right? However, the other thing that I said about raising that age limit, the age requirement rather, that would have prevented both of these shootings. In theory, for at least 3 years. So there's that. That's how real it is. I must have said some shit, but I stand by it all. So there's that too, you know. Yeah, man, this is wild crazy though. How those simple things that like this off of the top would change the trajectory of our country. Because, and I say that semi-hyperbolically, but not really, because the reality is that would change the landscape of our country. That would create more responsibility in gun owners, and hopefully have the new AR owners, you know, a little more mindful. And if it don't work, right? Like if this shit keep happening, then that just means that we have to do something else. But like we have to do something, man. Like we gotta do something. This shit is fucking insane. These last 2, right, that made headline news, these shits hit home hard for me, you know, and I say that in full honesty, right? Because when I saw the victims in Buffalo, all I could think about was my Auntie Glo going shopping, you know what I'm saying, to get some strawberries because she had a hankering. And she ends up getting shot? Like, what? Or one of my grandmothers, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, like, that shit hit different. It really did. It hit different. other side, being 100% honest, this one in Texas, like, this is babies, man. Like, this is babies, bro. Like, this is children. Like if you are easily triggered, don't follow this advice. But if your skin is a little bit thick, listen to these children's voices. Like, it's a couple of them that have done interviews. Their parents have allowed them to do interviews. You can find them all over the internet right now, on YouTube especially. Listen to their voices. Like, these are babies, bro. Like, babies, man. Like, you hear me? Babies, man. We gotta do something, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we gotta do something. I don't know. My son gotta give.